Hello, hello.
Hello.
No, we can
Always.
hear you still.
We can hear. Luna can hear you as well. Okay, if I clip this mic here, maybe it will.
Now I have audio. You guys, they can hear, by the way. You guys, they could hear this whole time. It was just me.
Okay.
It was just me.
Oh.
My mic was the issue. But now everybody can hear everything and everything is fine. Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the SIDEPOD. Guys, 3 weeks, 3 episodes. We're champions. We're basically champions. We are the true champions. We work as hard as the people in F1 do. After that false start, let's get right into it. The Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. First of all, straight up before we get into any kind of driving, any kind of whatever. Should that Grand Prix have happened, guys? It was a weird weekend. It was, I don't know how to feel about all of those images of cars and smoke on the track, and it's just all a bit Mad Max, no?
Yeah, last year the only dive bombs were from Max Verstappen. So
Yeah. No, I think Lewis Hamilton remember in 2020 when COVID was about to happen and they were all in Melbourne on Friday, just like waiting for the race to start. And everybody was like, what the hell is going on? Why are you guys still here and everything? And he summarized it the best, I feel. He said, cash is king.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is essentially the story of last weekend.
Yeah, cash, and also if you sort of followed like what was happening on Twitter, etc., a lot of reports suggesting that veiled threats were essentially made. Like, is that like in the sense where language was used to suggest that first of all there were a lot of meetings that went on late into the night after this incident happened. Yeah. It's not like the drivers went, okay, off to the Marriott, I guess. And
while Yuki was falling asleep in that image, did you?
Yeah. Like, well, he's small and he needs his sleep, all right? Yuki's small and Yuki needs his sleep. The heat gets to Yuki, and but yeah. So 4-hour meeting, as somebody in the chat said, 4-hour meeting, and then words to the effect of like their safe departure could not be guaranteed.
Yep. Just Saudi Arabia things, I mean.
Yeah. Just a normal
I
Friday.
honestly thought it wouldn't go ahead when I was seeing those visuals of that meeting, and when we were like, okay, they've been in a meeting for 3 hours already. This is what's going. I was like, okay, this seems like it's not gonna happen. So I was a little surprised when they went ahead and we heard the opposite.
Cash is king, I guess.
Let's all agree that, this is the business of sport, and they take the business part a little just as seriously as they take the sport part, So.
And also, you have to consider it's just the amount of investment that Saudi Arabia and overall the Middle East has put into Formula One, that you just cannot afford to antagonize the oil money that is coming into to Formula One. Basically,
there were chats last year when we were going to Qatar for the first time as well around, human rights and things like that. But obviously, cash is king, basically. Rohan, what's your take?
This episode is called Cash is King, guys.
Yeah, that's what this episode is called. Cash is Net Drive to Survive might sue us, but cash is king, I guess.
Speaking of Drive to Survive, I saw a good friend of mine, Raja Sen, who's a TV film critic. He had the tweet of the race, I thought, where he said, is Nicholas Latifi sponsored by Drive to Survive or what? Like, genuinely. That guy's accidents have a way to turn around a race. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm convinced Nicholas Latifi is actually the sleeper agent, entirely bankrolled by the people who eventually want to sell the R&D that they make from the car safety features, right? Like, I have a theory that Latifi's actual entire job, and I feel like even like the FIA knows this, and I feel like everybody knows this, and I feel like Michael Massey knows this, and it's one of those things. It's like everybody agrees that Latifi's job is to stay in the back and eventually test out the safety features, right? Like, how good are the track marshals? How good are the features in this car? This little adjustment that we made, did that work? I think that's Latifi's job, and I feel like you guys just aren't respecting how good he is at it.
Yeah. They had hired, in fact, Mazepin to do the job earlier, but he wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
I feel. Like he would just spin the car like, no, Nikita, you have to hit the wall. That's the point.
Arjun, I think your volume is a little low, so you might have to hold the mic closer. Or
let me try to flip this thing on. Okay.
Okay.
Failed at but maybe.
It's like watching the drivers get ready, guys. Just think about it. Like it's like watching the drivers. It's exactly like that. Right?
The pre-race routine.
Pre-race routine, yeah.
It's the
Let me do some in training. Like you've seen Pierre Gasly.
Yeah.
How fast can Pierre Gasly catch a tennis ball? That is some next level reflexes that dude has. Yeah.
You know what would be amazing is if you don't know and you think it's training for this, but what you don't know is his actual passion is catching tennis balls really fast, alright? And there are underground clubs, like these fight clubs that he goes to, alright? Where this is a thing. And F1 is just his glamorous cover identity for that.
I think,
yeah, that's right. Arjun, you're just going to have to scream through this podcast where everybody's just like, your thing is just low. Alright, for next week, your project is we get you a mic. Alright, we go one by one. This week we got... he fixed the lighting this week, guys.
Yeah, you've got lighting this week.
Yeah.
It's like Mercedes' race car, week by week, it'll rise one position.
Arjun, is there such thing as method podcasting? Method podcasting. Suddenly by July, Arjun's gonna have the most 4K Dolby setup.
Yeah.
And we're all gonna be like, hey man, can we podcast at your house?
Sound design the walls over here.
But getting to it, the race, the Leclerc Verstappen battle, lots to get into there, especially in terms of DRS cat and mouse is now obviously officially like the key part of all strategy. It's essentially pit stops and cat and mouse, right? Like like our drivers now just relearning braking into turns as a result of this. And so what do you feel about that battle? Because it was quite a solid one, and we'll get to #SadCheco. We'll get to Sad Checo. We'll get to Sad Checo soon as a casualty of this conversation. But yes, thoughts? Start Cherry. Thoughts?
I thought it was a very exciting battle, and as much as I hate to say this, I feel like Max has matured a little this year, and his driving style is still aggressive, but I feel like it's not as reckless as what we saw last year, in my opinion. I feel like it was actually thrilling, even though I'm not a Red Bull fan or a Max fan or a Ferrari fan. I was actually enjoying that battle, even, the race before this. And we were all like, okay, he's going to run out of patience. But I think he held on again this time, which is pretty good. And I hope it stays that way. But it was really good racing, and it was exciting to watch that. And I think the unpredictability about it is what's kind of exciting, because it kind of went down to the last lap, and even then you were like, okay, you don't know who's going to win this, which is what I like about the DRS battles now, that it's getting exciting. Some people are incredibly close, some are not quite yet there, but I think it's going to be a 3-team battle at least towards the end of the season, and a pretty strong one.
I think it's going to be Red Bull, Ferrari, Haas also.
Yeah.
Can you put a poll up? Can you put a poll up or something, and ask your audience?
Yeah, what do you want me to ask them? I can absolutely do that.
Whether DRS, yes or no?
Okay.
They think
I'll also take the opportunity to read out a super chat. Rohan says, Leclerc Verstappen is going to be the Mbappe-Haaland rivalry of the next decade. Alright. DRS, cat and mouse. Yay or nay? Alright.
Yeah, let's see what everybody thinks. Yeah. But Azim likened it best, I feel. It's like playing a video game. Azim, I know exactly.
Yeah, Azim, you have thoughts about this? Yes.
Yeah, so for those of you who have been following either my streams or F1 esports in general, this is a theme that's been going on for very long in the F1 esports world, which is that and in F1 2021, the game, the cars are actually, in a sense, like these modern day cars, which is that the dirty air does not affect you that much. Yeah. So, which is why one of the key strategies has always been, you'll see, literally, you wait till the last lap and you trail the car. You do not overtake the car. So you literally have 20 cars driving in a train, and the one guy who is in second place basically takes his opportunity, so to speak. Oh, thank you so much. They takes his opportunity and basically has to make that overtake on the last lap. But what the lead car will then do is just basically slam the brakes just before the DRS so that this guy is not expecting. So the first time that happened, everyone was like mind blown. Nicholas Longe, what a guy, this has never been seen before. But now it's just become a thing that happens in every close race. And the reason why this happens, again, a lot of people wonder what is the big deal, what is that line that people are breaking for. We'll do a little tutorial about that, which is the fact that, so there is the point where the DRS zone starts. And before that, around usually 300 or 400 meters before that, there is a DRS detection line, which means you have to be within 1 second when you cross that line and not the DRS line. So basically, they are waiting to reach that line later than their opponent so that they can get that DRS. So that's why you saw both those cars locking up. It's also last year why we saw the Verstappen-Hamilton thing going on, because Verstappen basically wanted to let Hamilton pass so that he would get DRS and get to pass him again. And even when he tried to pass him again, he did the same thing. So that's basically it. And it's going to be interesting because there are a lot of tracks where one detection point gives you 2 DRS zones. Like, for instance, there is Mexico, which is one of those tracks. So maybe we'll see that stuff happening there as well. So it's going to be an interesting layer of tactics that we've been seeing in esports for a very long time. We never thought it was feasible in real life, but clearly now it is.
And I feel it's also this esports generation of drivers.
Yeah.
Like all of these guys play these video games constantly. It was like watching a video game, like the last few laps.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And DRS becomes this power up that you get, and can you think about like the
boost?
Yeah, the boost or whatever.
Nitrous
nos.
Like the move that Charles did when he sort of broke lap 43 or whatever, and he tried to like do that thing, and they both were a little bit clumsy going into the last corner and coming out. And they're doing it at 300 kilometers an hour. Like, what mental and physical fortitude must you have to be playing these like kind of mind games at that level of speed, at the walls right there?
And what bowels?
What bowels? Yeah, what bowels?
And what bowels?
I mean, no, there's like, you can't see that kind of physical and mental thing come together in any other sport, I feel like. It's just that the stakes are so high at that level. I suppose that's why we all love it also.
Yeah, it's very cool. And also, I mean, I think that battle showed us the straight line feel that Red Bull has, which is incredible. Like on that last DRS straight, I don't know if you noticed, Verstappen switched off his DRS because he was like, "Bhai, what straight line? I cannot go faster than this if I am to make this overtake work." And good racecraft. I also wanted to point out the little move, the lap before he overtook him. There was one very small thing that Verstappen did going into turn 1, which is that he dummied like he was going to dive on the inside and then took the outside line, and that basically threw Charles offline for the entire section where Ferrari is faster than the Red Bull in the track.
Yeah.
So that's how he was able to get himself. And it is a common saying that in general that an overtake is planned not on the same corner, not even sometimes on the same lap. An overtake is planned 2 or 3 laps before it actually happens. And I think that was one of the great example of that. The fact that you set up an overtake on the final corner with your first turn, which I think was very impressive.
And both are so chalak, yaar. I mean, they're so
It was beautiful racing. It was fucking beautiful racing. Like, it was just beautiful to watch. It was good racing.
Yeah.
Max Charles as a race could be more exciting over a season than Max Lewis, I feel.
It's true,
for sure.
Like just because they're both so chalu young drivers, it's great. Love it.
And the fact that also, I think, both of them after the race were like, fuck, yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, I get the feeling like if it was Hamilton involved in that, he would have been saying, oh, they raced me so hard, and oh my god, that's some dangerous driving.
That is not true. That is not true. As I said, we're seeing a more mature Max this season, guys. Wait till Mad Max comes out, and everybody's going to be complaining again.
That was very, 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 very big of you, Sherry, to say that. I know how much it took
Exactly.
For you to use the
see?
words mature and Max in the same sentence.
In the same sentence.
I just
and
earlier
that too publicly.
Yeah, I was looking away earlier, not because I wasn't paying attention to you guys, because I was pulling up the predictions where your side prediction was Max in the wall.
Oh God.
Where your side
But so was mine, in fairness.
Max in the wall. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Azim, you also said Max in the wall.
Yeah, Max is actually what I call Latifi. That's his pet name. So.
But did you guys feel bad for Shah? I really thought I wanted him to
I
win.
did feel a little bad for him. I did feel a little bad for him.
Like he kind of did a good job throughout, and for me, he was the better driver. Like I just feel like this was like a lucky last lap for Max. But like, I mean, I felt like this was his race. I mean, for me.
I mean, it should have been Checo's race. I mean,
yeah. But after we took Checo out of the mix, I mean, between the Ferrari and the Bulls, I would say, like in the last lap, obviously, I felt terribly bad for Leclerc.
Nomadic Cockroach, thank you for your super chat. Just here for the satisfaction. See, the Max haters give logic also because thank you. Okay. But while we're on the subject, right? Like, so for me, I think I'm obviously sad for him, but like, also I think it's good that the first two races of the season have had two different winners, like, or two different this thing. I'm not sad if this was like race like 22 or race 23 and like the title was on the line or whatever. I'd say this thing, but right now this is good because this sends sort of both teams back into the pits going, no one is safe. Like, literally, weirdly enough, what Toto Wolff said, that everybody has a target on their backs, but that target is not a Mercedes target at this time.
Yeah.
Right? That is not what that is. So, but yes, to talk about Max, your pet name friend, Latifi, man, what's going on? What's going on with Latifi?
See, as a Williams fan, I must hide my head in shame because they have been absolutely awful. Like, what a terrible race Williams had. One car in the wall, the other car DNFing and getting a penalty after DNFing. So these Mercedes engines, dude, what do you do with them? It's you can't do anything with that engine right now. It's very, very bad. Continue.
No, go ahead, Aditya. Go ahead.
No, I was going to slightly change and go back into time into quali because there's lots to talk about there as well.
Sure.
So we'll finish your point.
No, I was going to say, if I'm feeling sad for Checo and if I'm feeling sad for Williams, I think I also want to shout out to Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Actually had a sick race.
Dude,
it was amazing.
That Alpine battle was sick, right?
Amazing.
It was like, they were just like, forget everybody else. This is... For us, this is it. Like, I don't know what, like one drank the other's coffee right before they got out or what, but this like was, it was just like this beautiful spat that just worked.
It was really, really exciting, and for bad luck for Fernando, but
there was a lot of bad luck actually in this race. I feel like there was
as well.
Bottas, even Lewis got stuck because of Alonso and Ricardo also again engine. I mean, I feel like a lot of course, Checo, I mean, had the worst luck of all, but like, I think
he had a good Saturday.
A good Saturday.
Yeah. But I love the fact that they kept bringing Otmar in. Like, while the two Alpines are battling the commentary,
they just kept bringing Otmar in.
Like, sir, आपको क्या लगता है आपकी दोनों गाड़ी crash होने वाली है क्या? आप बताओ ना. Bichara, he's trying to watch the race, get instructions with him. नहीं बताओ crash होने वाला है क्या?
That's so true.
The whole race direction was quite cult in general.
Oh yeah, full on.
Over the weekend, the whole race direction, there was a moment where Crofty was losing his voice. Like, I don't know if you could hear it during the Alonso and Ocon battle. Like, he was going hoarse. Like, it was,
He was.
Crofty.
That was a great battle, though. I think the fact that they were letting them race and both of them showed equally that they are equally harami. So Ocon with where he squeezed Alonso into the wall. Man. And Alonso then came back and then he made it a point on the exit of turn 2. He left the car in there so that Ocon has to back out of it. It was great racing.
None of this would have been possible though if the cars weren't able to follow this more closely. Yeah. Like, I feel like this is a great vindication of the new regulations that we have such close racing, because Saudi, I remember, Azim, we were talking about this on the first one. where we said Saudi, because of its fast corners, it should be much harder to follow. But these guys were like right up there, and it was great. It made for great racing right up to the end.
All the drivers have been saying that as well. I think Max and Charles both made it a point to say, we're really enjoying it. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more exciting. Like you could see, like just from their post conference and even the reactions in the radio, like they had really enjoyed themselves, whatever the battle was.
They seem to have a good time.
Yeah.
Down the line, I feel like everybody's having fun. Like this season seems like everybody's enjoying
Everybody's a big word.
Everybody except Lewis, I'm guessing.
I think Daniel Ricciardo, Lewis, Lando Norris will all have...
largely the gaps have been closed between, in terms of the A teams, B teams, and it's not as we're saying that the distances are not, the gaps are not as large as usual. And I feel like
is a B team now, technically.
Yeah, right now they are. And I feel like I don't mean across the board everybody. I just mean that when you looked at earlier seasons, it was obviously just the first, few teams that were really competitive. But here today, you're looking at everybody from that competitive lens. And I think they're all enjoying that racing, which they haven't had that level of competitiveness in a while, which I think is pretty amazing.
Yeah. And what's also interesting is the fact that every team has completely different problems when you think about it. So Ferrari doesn't seem to have any major problems. Red Bull had reliability. Alpine has electronics/reliability. Alfa Romeo has a car that doesn't get off the line, which is absurd. McLaren has a car that is only good in medium speed corners. They can't do high speed. They can't do low speed. What I loved was watching Lando Norris's interview in the post show, where he was like, they were like, you got 8 points, so the car, is it an improvement from last week? And they were trying to ask, what's her name, Jennifer, I think her name is, the interviewer. She was trying to ask like positivity messages. So it's a good result, you got points, blah blah blah, all of that. He's like, no, we'll be shit next week. We can't do slow corners at all. We can't do fast corners. It's not up or down. We have no idea what to expect. So he was like very brutal in his assessment of the car.
Damn, that's like exit interview vibes. I'll tell you what I think. No.
Still very unpredictable. No, I think you're not no one's sure that they're going to finish. Like every time there's reliability issues, there's engine issues. And everyone I think is like, this could happen to me. Which is
absolutely.
It could happen to anyone this season. We've seen that. So that's pretty crazy intense.
Very quick super chat. Pranav says, just to congratulate Azim for winning the Drivers' Championship. Hey, well
congratulations!
Done, man. Nicely
Thank you.
Nice.
And in the other league, we are currently leading the Constructors' Championship with Haas. So that's fun.
Nice.
Is there a cash prize, Azim?
No, nothing. It's just these one or two super chats. That's the cash.
4 liters petrol. 4 liters petrol. A huge sum. Equivalent to a Bitcoin in this day and age. 4 entire liters. Okay, so while we're on the subject of bad luck though, since you brought it up, the real bad luck here is because of the safety car and because of the yellow flags, some wild pitting went down. Let's break it down one by one. Let's start with, first of all, that beauty from Leclerc. Where did he con Red Bull into pitting?
Yeah.
Did he essentially con Red Bull into pitting?
Bluff.
That was beautiful.
It's basically the stand. It's one of the standard tactics of you put pressure by putting that radio call in, but it's always box opposite to the car in front of you. If they go in, you go for overcut. If they don't go, you go for undercut. So it's just about who decides to make that move, and it could be a completely different race, right? If Charles pits and Perez stays out, then that's Leclerc's race over. So fine margins.
But Ferrari was on it with this whole lobbying on the radio. There was that. And then remember when Carlos also came out of the pit with Sergio, he was like, no, he crossed the white line before I did.
Yeah.
According to Article 27.
And he got the position back, right?
He totally got the position back,
There's one lawyer also sitting there in that technical headphones on, at all times. They've snuck a lawyer in with one of the mechanics. They just got it done.
Typically Ferrari is the team. That's the other change we're seeing in Ferrari. Ferrari is the team that usually gets this shit wrong. Like if the last few years are any indication on like strategy and like risk-taking behavior and things like that, Ferrari's like 7 times out of 10 been on the wrong side of it.
Yeah.
So that's the other aspect, is that their car has improved, but so has their sort of race IQ.
Their thinking.
Yeah.
Well, I had one question to raise. Like, what did you guys think? So obviously now there's no Michael Massey anymore. It's a new race director. What do you guys think of like how the races are being officiated right now? I think they're doing a pretty like good, clear job with everything because the teams can't interfere anymore.
Yeah.
So it's straight up cars being investigated, and now you have that little suspense drama. You don't know what the conversation is happening in the back end. I think the getting that virtual safety car out was also like the right thing to do. Like just instead of having a full-on safety car, I think they did a pretty good job.
I think
with
so too.
With the officiating.
I think it also seems fair. Like so far, I don't think there were any unfair calls, in my opinion, over the last 2 races, and it's seeming a lot
with that pit lane
cleaner.
closure, though. Bad luck with that pit lane closure.
Yeah.
Oof.
That was bad.
Magnussen got in, right?
Yeah. Magnussen got in and then got out. I think Magnussen had one more car. There were 2 cars that got
Alonso
in.
Alonso was the other one.
Correct. And then
I saw there was a Mercedes tweeted or posted on Instagram or whatever, and they said an AMG is leading. It's the safety car.
I think that might have been one of those Photoshop posts. So was it an actual?
No. But I have to say they have like the best social media team. They are hilarious. Like, do you guys not agree? Like the Mercedes social media team is really funny. I think like they're doing a great job.
Yeah, pretty good.
Gonna be silent.
I haven't given deep thought to Mercedes' social media game. I'm sorry. That I have not given deep thought.
I mean, there were no memes after Abu Dhabi last year.
At least give them a good social media team. Come on.
Okay,
I will follow.
Okay, there's points for 10th. Whether you believe it or not, there's points for 10th.
Hamilton was asking, do we get points
do I get a point for this? Yeah.
Quick one, Siddharth. We'll let you up. Sorry, quick super chat. It's quick. We'll let you up. Parth says, Leclerc didn't get DRS on the last lap because of double yellows. Otherwise, he would be on the top stop. What about Lewis P16 quali? Ferrari 1-2 in Australia. People also want to know what platform do you watch F1 on? Hotstar. It's available.
Hotstar,
Nomadic Cockroach says, not really Hamilton's first season. There were 7 different race winners in 7 different races. F1 is going back to how it was before the finance guys came. Okay. Cool, fair. Sorry, Sherry, you were saying.
I was saying that I think that Lewis is going to come out stronger. And I feel like he does well in seasons like this that start kind of slightly badly for him. So I think once the car gets a little better, he's going to be really determined, and we're really going to see like a mega battle is what I predict. And I think he did really well. And I mean, he came up to 6th, and then bad luck with the Ricardo and Alonso's car being in the pits getting messed up or whatever. But I still feel like we can't count Mercedes out yet. I just feel like they're going to come back much stronger. Like, I mean, I think it's going to get only better. Like, I think, what did we say? The European races is when it's going to really heat up, and we're going to see this solid 3-way battle, which is going to be really exciting.
So May onwards, basically, is when things are going to get. End of May. All right, we got a lot of people watching, but only 495 likes, guys. Come on, smash that like button. What are you doing, guys? Disgusting.
What is this Latifi behavior?
Yeah, really crash. In fact, I want you to go Latifi on that like button. I want you to smash it so hard. I want you to smash it so hard. Come on, guys.
Yes, we will put a safety car out on the stream.
We will do
reach
it right
2,000 likes.
Speaking of bad crashes, Mick Schumacher, holy shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow, that was intense.
That was crazy.
Yeah, that was like, it's one of those, again, like, it's so, that's the fine balances of F1, where literally if you accelerate on that curb, it is instant death. Like, and this is milliseconds we're talking about. Like, literally if he puts that accelerator down, like 300ths of a second later, he just makes the corner normally. So it's the finest margins. And I was reading an article, they said that Gunther Steiner said that it's going to cost them anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million to repair the damage.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm
I was
still
just
saying,
like,
guys, if we can collect
hai
enough super chats, we can have our name on the Haas team for sure. I feel like we can have.
That was a mangled mess. Like when you saw the crane picking it up, it was like scary. I was like, oh my god.
I firmly believe we can, if we are a successful and dedicated enough show. I feel like a little
on the
Haas.
card, on the side pod, it will say.
It'll just say side pod.
Why on the side pod?
Yeah.
It shouldn't. It say it right in the front.
On the wing it'll put side pod.
Yeah.
It'll just completely confuse people.
Confuse Mick Schumacher more also. He's like, but that's not a side pod. I think
also from quali, I have to say props to Sergio Perez's lap. I mean,
oh man,
I thought last year Max Verstappen, until he put it in the wall, that was one of the greatest quali laps I'd seen. But I watched the entire onboard of Perez's lap, and it was just as perfect as you could nail that circuit. It was so good. And usually he's not a guy who's particularly great at quali. Like usually he's a race pace consistency guy. But the fact that he could put it so much faster, like a good 2/10 faster than Verstappen, I think that was very, very impressive.
Okay, that is one last thing before we move on into this thing. First, some quick super chats again. Shanti says replays become more annoying when action is still going on. Any thoughts on telecast of replays when not needed? Aditya says, what are your thoughts about Jehan Daruwala, which we'll come to in a second. And Stats Guru says, fun fact, with 16 points after 2 races, this is Hamilton's worst start to a season since 2010 current point system. So Jehan Daruwala, yes, had a good weekend.
14th to 3rd, yeah.
And even in the sprint race, he went from like 13th to 7th or something. I mean, there was something about Jehan this week that was really great to watch. Like it was, in the sprint race, there was a lot of aggression, even though he started in the midfield, right in the thick of it and everything, and I loved it. And then in the feature race, which was longer and everything, like a great strategy call and really nailed it, man. Like props to that boy. He's really showing up this year. And like, you know, let's keep an eye out for like how he sort of stacks up this year in Formula 2, because it's a defining year for him.
And it's also so much more impressive the fact that he went 14th to 3rd. Also, the strategy played a part, but the fact that the F2 cars do not have ERS deploy. Like you do not have that extra battery boost. You only rely purely on DRS, and that's the only like add-on you have. So the fact that he did it purely with just that one assist and not like battery management as well, I think is phenomenal.
That's awesome.
And the racing is always really close in that thing. So, I mean, I'm very excited to see how Jehan like pans out this season. He's got some tough competition though. Like, I mean, there's some really great drivers in that grid who are all showing up. So,
well, either way, Jehan OP in the chat. Come on. Jehan OP in the chat.
And Kush Maini as well is doing well in F3. So he's having a pretty decent season as well.
There you go. Good weekend all around for everybody except Mick Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton.
But you know, I have something I want to show you guys that I pulled up yesterday. You know, when Facebook sends you those memories or whatever, like from way back when we used to post on Facebook, I got my status from 13 years ago. Okay, I screenshotted this yesterday. It says, "Way to go, Lewis! 18th to 4th, my hero."
Little did you know, later on it would be.
Ago. I was like, "Oh my god,
that's crazy."
Yeah.
You could have put one for this week as well, no? 16th to 10th, my hero.
I mean, my Facebook has been dead for a while, but
I think Sherry chose to not listen to that. She's just like, yeah, my Facebook's.
You know, in Lewis's defense, though, one thing that I noticed that he did in this race, which is indicative of his last 6 championship wins, is how he once again was playing that tire management game.
Yes.
So he knew he knew that the car wasn't fast enough, but he is a master of tire management, and he's really figured out these Pirellis. And now that they're the bigger Pirellis, I'm surprised that he got accustomed to them so quickly, and he's using that as the differentiator to make the moves, you know. So I feel like that was up until his sort of bad luck that happened and everything, he was playing that tire management strategy again like really, really well.
Also, for the first time in years, I saw Lewis Hamilton doing a dive bomb. When he was clearly behind the car. That's not something he ever does. Like, he has to be alongside before he makes the overtake, or he puts you into the wall at Silverstone, but that's a different thing.
Does not do that at all. There are all Lewis haters here, y'all are just like really pulling him down for no reason.
See, one out of 30 times he puts you into the wall. That's okay.
Lewis haters, I haven't said anything. Like, I'm just sitting here. I haven't said anything. Stop tarring us all with the same brush. Like, it's unnecessary. Entirely unnecessary. And for that... Yes, no,
it
go
was
on.
It was a good... I think he did pretty well. He came up to 6th, and I think he would have gotten better if he had better luck. But sadly, this wasn't his weekend. But I'm not so concerned. Like, I know they are behind, but I think, as I said, I think it's just a matter of some races, and then we're going to see a stronger battle. But with his skill, he's managing the best he can with the car right now.
But how is Russell? How did Russell manage to do so much better than Lewis? Is the question that I have in that race.
In quali,
he had better luck.
In quali, luck se thodi gaadi fast jata hai quali mein.
Luck. This is better luck. Bichara पूरा लाइफ काम किया है, मेहनत किया है, ट्रेनिंग किया है, एक्सरसाइज
किया है. This is George Russell crying meme for this moment.
And just had better luck.
Technically, Lewis is the greatest qualifier of all time, apparently, according to this thing. So that's why the quali difference was even more shocking this time.
But guys, everyone's car setup is different. So, we look at Ricciardo and Norris again. There are going to be some weekends that this one does better, some weekends this one does better. It's going to happen.
You're getting very close to that. Every child is different, guys. Not everyone.
No, but that's actually a fair point that I did not think
everybody's car setup is different. So, maybe Russell had a better setup for this race, and he's a great driver, no doubt.
That's a good point you raised. Yeah, no, because the fact that also there's again, it's another concept we'll get into. There's a thing called Parc Fermé rules, right? Where the setup you run in quali is the setup you run in the race. And maybe Lewis thought that there is a setup that is slower over an individual lap, but will give me better tire management through the race. It will give me a little bit downforce. So maybe that was the game that he was trying to play. Or maybe he made a mistake on the lap, which it could have been like a 7th or 8th position, but that was what the difference was. But that could be that the car was set up for race rather than quali.
Yeah, could be. Nikhil, we already talked about Jehan Daruwala. Okay, on that note, friends, should we get into some telemetry? Because, we have data and graphs and shit. Aditya Bhat, come on out with your telemetry.
Horan.
Wow us.
Telemetry.
Telemetry. I do mean telemetry.
Actually, it's called telemetry.
Telemetry, yes, telemetry.
Hello. Good evening.
Yes, hello. How's it going, man?
Good, man. How are you guys?
Very,
Arjun,
very
I see the G920 on the site. I love it.
G29, dude. It's a little old school. Yeah.
What? Mine looks exactly the same. Okay.
PSXW. Any comments?
Oh, this is next level.
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow.
I don't have your seat either. I'm just
ideally, please give our audience a heads up before we all start putting dicks on the table, guys. Like, please. Alright, it's not that sort of podcast.
This is the podcast where we flex home simulator kits. This is that podcast. It's for that audience.
Full on. Next time I'm doing mine from a car. We're like,
My seat, if I brake hard, my seat moves back. Like the entire seat rolls back.
Yeah.
So I have the fix for that. What you have to do is take 2 shoes and put them on the back wheels, and they won't roll anymore. Because I've been here.
Yeah. I do the paper. I put paper in between. So.
Welcome to telemetry and DIY for your racing wheel simulators.
Yes.
This is the segment where we do both of those things. We have now solved the issue of the seat rolling back, and we have learned that the solution can involve either taking 2 sheets of paper or shoes and placing them behind the back wheels. Mr. Bhat, wow us with data.
Let me know when you guys see it.
We see it.
Let's go.
Right. So, I'll just get into it. Before we start, right? First, we'll set some context about how the Saudi track is, especially in the context of Red Bull and Ferrari. 40% of the first part of the 40% is long sweeping corners, the fast corners, where Red Bull are OP. No, I mean, sorry, Ferrari.
Ferrari.
But then it gets into the next 60% is just straights, and Ferrari Red Bull blow everyone out of the water in the next 60%, right?
Yeah.
So this context helps when I talk about Red Bull versus Ferrari and Max versus Leclerc. So first of all, I have three things to say. When we talk about qualifying, Azim spoke about how good Perez's lap was, and it was. But if you look into the data, right, Max really blew it at the end. Especially so all this talk about so first of all, the legend that is Leclerc is red, Max is white, and Perez is blue here in the Delta. And just for people who didn't watch last week, the Perez is the flat line. That's the reference line. Yeah. If your line is below, you're faster on that lap. This is the qualifying lap, the last lap. And if you're above it, you're slower, right? So right. I've got the lap on the left here. You see the blues and the whites are the Red Bulls, and they're all dominating the straights, and everywhere there's a fast corner, Leclerc takes that. So that's how it plays out, like for most of the lap. Red Bull are close together everywhere. Okay. But at the start of the lap, this 40% is where Leclerc is way ahead. Because we saw the onboard of Perez and it was beautiful. But I want to specifically talk about this last corner when you brake for this what do you call it?
Hairpin.
The hairpin, and then it's just a flat dash to the line. This is supposed to be Red Bull territory. So where I put the graph here, this is that braking zone, and you see Perez is the reference, and Max is right there with him. And coming up to the end of this lap, all the straights part is where Leclerc is losing that time that he had gained because he's in the Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
But then at this braking point, I don't know what Leclerc does, because you see he brakes late. He doesn't even fully go off the throttle, and he still got such a great exit that he's caught up to the Red Bull in the final coming up to the end of the lap. But somehow Max has lost it. Max is supposed to be the guy coming down here. Instead, he's the one going back up and losing 2/10, essentially the entire 2/10 on just that exit. And I don't know where, I don't know if you guys found it. No one puts the onboard video of P4 of a random qualifying up. I tried to find it, but I don't know what he did. It's not evident in the driving data, and we don't get setup data, but and it's not a big problem that if it were in data, because it's only 2/10. But generally, he's supposed to be the one smashing Perez here instead of not even being third, right?
Maybe the ghost looks past, basically that last corner was the boogie corner for him last year. Maybe
it looks like it probably was just like snap oversteer just on corner exit, and that's what might have cost him.
2/10, dude, that's a lot.
Yeah, I really want to see that on board, but it's there's no way he should have been fourth, especially being right there with one corner too.
Crazy. Great.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So, this is what I really want to talk about. An absolute masterclass. So, you guys spoke about Perez losing out and everything with Latifi crashing and the safety car, right? But when the race restarts on lap, what was it, lap 21, till Ricardo and Alonso die again, lap 36, that entire battle there, Leclerc somehow consistently keeps Verstappen out of DRS range, and that's very commendable considering the 60% of the lap is where Red Bull should be killing it, right? You see these graphs here, consistently Leclerc is beating him better, right? And I wanted to see how he does it. So again, you see all the straights are blue and only the corners. There's seven braking points, and every braking point Leclerc has to like make up this gap. So again with the delta, right? At the start of the lap, he has to build at least this much of a gap because he knows it's coming back down at the end of the lap.
Yeah.
And he has to build this much of a gap to keep Leclerc out of DRS range. Max out of DRS range. And I noticed that he was short shifting a lot, like in this stint that he did, consistently in these corners, because you see everywhere else there's no top speed because it's a Ferrari engine versus a Red Bull. So he has to maintain, and you guys really have to like sort of appreciate this because it's almost robotic. I put it up on my story as well. If I built a specific robot just programmed to take on that section, this entire section, I don't know how much better it do compared to Charlie Leclerc.
That's crazy,
right? Because it's this entire especially this section, it's like a roller coaster, and when you get into the roller coaster, you have to get in exactly at that angle, because if you don't get in, if you just slightly off, it affects your next corner and the next corner and the next corner. It's like, they say it in Australian V8 supercars, the way like someone makes a mistake. I don't know who that commentator is, but he says, does that give him an invoice? Is there a price to pay?
Ooh.
That, and
nice.
No invoices this entire stint.
Yeah, that's great.
That's crazy.
I mean, it was like a great. That's why also I think we're all so excited about the Charles versus Max battle, is because Charles has got that X factor to him that, you know, beyond just like the otherworldly level of talent that he has, he's also able to think on his feet so much to maintain that gap and things like that, to break the toe, to break the DRS. Fantastic.
Yeah, and you got
आप बम्बई आ सकते हैं. All right, what else you got? More.
This one obviously haven't got data, but it's a theory that I made up.
Okay.
Hypothesis,
Yeah,
which I hope you guys, you can.
F1 isn't real. It was shot in a basement by Stanley Kubrick. No.
So, after the VSC ended for Alonso and Ricciardo retiring, 8 laps to go, and both of them are on hards, Verstappen versus Leclerc, and both their tires were short, right? Completely gone. But that's when obviously he played a bit of a trick, Verstappen, with the VSC, and made up some delta, I believe. It was 1.5 seconds or something, but when it ended, he was within a second. But that's allowed, that's just trickery, right? But still, the fact that he's suddenly getting to overtake, because how was Leclerc keeping him at bay so easily and suddenly he's not able to, right? And you know that Formula 1 tires work in these optimum temperature ranges, right?
Yeah.
And when the tires are short, and especially when you're under VSC conditions, the tires cool back down significantly, and you've got to bring them back up to that optimum temperature.
Yeah.
Right? How do you do it? So what I think was happening was, because they went for different setups, and generally the cars are different. The Red Bulls are top speed oriented, and the Ferraris have a lot of grip, the downforce. So what I'm saying is, the first 40% of the lap at least, when they've got no downforce, the Red Bulls, which means they're sliding around a lot, which means the tires are rubbing around a lot and giving you that temperature. So it wasn't supposed to happen, but it happened.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Right? And if you got that grip, then you're fighting.
Also, I think another factor is that the VSC allowed Max to recharge his battery a lot more. So that would have given him more of that straight line speed advantage again.
But crazy,
did you guys notice on the safety car how chalu Max Verstappen has been.
Oh,
like,
super duper.
Coming right to the
yeah.
side and everything.
He's so like, he's just like.
But he always does that. He always
like,
does
oh
that.
man, like I wasn't even in the race, and there was a point in the race where I just want to be like, stop it, just stop it. You're breaking my brain. What are you doing?
And he's always saying they're going so slowly. They need to go faster. They need to go faster. I'm like, right here. Like, come on.
No, but I think that was too. Sorry, just before you read, Apna Bidu King Eric, who's a legend from 442. He's this sideways thing actually was detrimental to him in Bahrain because he decided to go sideways on the inside line, and that completely compromised his exit. So he will have learned from that, hopefully.
As I was saying, Apna Bhidu King Eric, by the way, before I was so rudely interrupted. So when the drivers follow the leader, it's because they think positions will be thrown at them. Rayo was like, oh, all the best, Azim, mera bacha hai tu, or Mercedes chi maushi chi. Excellent. I think we know his feelings on the subject. I think we have now got his feelings on the subject very clearly. Okay.
Also, just to tell Apna Bidu King Eric, I get the reference of the quote and well done.
Okay, there we go. All right. Okay. Cool. One more? You have one more?
I just have my conclusion. You guys spoke about, how excited they were at the end. Like, this was a great race. Like, the fact that they actually enjoyed it, there was no complaining. Brilliant.
Yeah,
I agree. That was very, very awesome.
Yep.
I mean, if they can do this, if they can keep this up in Australia, like Melbourne is notoriously difficult to overtake. There's just that one start-finish straight, and then like unless the weather is off or something, it's going to be hard to see many overtakes. If they can keep this up in Australia, man, we are in for a ride.
But they've changed the Australia track quite a bit now, so that the turn 6 is now, it's not that chicane thing anymore. It's like a flowy corner, so you basically get, so it technically gives you now 1.5 overtaking zones as opposed to the one clear one that you had before, and it's much easier. Actually, no, even the second straight they've widened the exit, so you can overtake into there as well. So quite interesting, because Australia, very, as you said, notoriously difficult to overtake, but this year, I mean, with the close following and the track changes, will be fun.
Also, I am slightly concerned for Carlos Sainz. Anyone? Like, the guy is just a couple more races doing this, and he's Barrichello easily. He's already Barrichello.
I know, but I don't know.
Don't do this,
I
man.
agree. I
Don't
agree.
do this.
I think he's going to, I mean, for a moment there, I mean, we're all talking about the Max and Charles show at this point. But who knows? Maybe later on it's the Sergio and Carlos show.
Maybe.
Could be.
Like, I mean,
Maybe.
Too early to tell.
How you all just all counted Russell and Lewis out of this show.
Because we know that if we do, you'll count them in. We know that if we do, you'll count them in. It's not there. We are in no danger. Like, let me put it this way, alright? If we were taking these 20 drivers out for a picnic, the 2 drivers I would not look out for at all would be Russell and Hamilton. Like, they were children that needed to be looked at, because I know that they are taken care of by at least one teacher for sure. I would definitely focus on the other 18.
I'm in for this group excursion.
There we go. Aditya, thank you so much, man. Aditya can be found on Instagram
Thanks,
at
Aditya.
butt.tech, and we will see you next
Good
week.
job,
as
Aditya.
well.
Loved
Thank
it.
you so much. Thank you so much. Aditya OP in the chat,
you,
and go
Aditya.
follow him on Instagram because he makes reels and all sorts of awesome content with all of this telemetry data, and you absolutely should.
Short shifting OP.
Utkarsh, thank you for your super chat. Says, I predicted Max will finish first. I was laughing when Hamilton finished 10th. Finally, the God listened. Well, good for you, I guess. F1 Stats Guru again says, fun fact, Melbourne has seen just 5.67 overtakes on an average since 2017. Only higher than Monaco. Fuck, what a great stat. What an awesome stat. On that note, Azim, do you have more education for us? DRS. What is it, man? What is DRS zones, buddy? Explain, please.
Yeah, I mean, we did go through that briefly, but yes, DRS, of course, is because so many times, like, and I understand lots of people are new, you don't know, everyone's like, DRS, khol diya. But simple stuff. Yes, doctors. Yes,
Doctors.
Yeah.
Or DRS as in football, decision reviews.
Yes,
Yeah.
or cricket. Also, you have 4 minutes to explain this concept and little more, because after that I have one more stream. Otherwise, poor
Yes, of
Sahil
course.
is
So
going to be holding
I'll
fort.
explain in 1 minute. Basically, if you are following the car behind and you are within 1 second of them, F1 gives you nitrous boost through aerodynamics, where you open a flap in the wing and you get 20 kilometers per hour fastest straight line speed, and that is basically what allows this overtaking. It was introduced about probably 10 years ago now, just because everyone was like, "Kuch overtaking nahi hota hai, what is this?" So then they were like, "Okay, you overtake on straight." And I think now we're seeing it in probably its best version, because now it's not just the straight line, the cars can also follow. So it's great. And as I said, DRS detection zone is before the DRS zone starts, so you have to be within 1 second at that time.
How much before the actual DRS zone is the detection zone?
It varies from track to track, honestly. So for instance, in Mexico there is one zone for both the DRS. I think in Hungary as well there is one zone for both the DRS zones.
And how do you know as a driver when you have DRS, like when it's available to you?
Usually you get a beep from the console in your headphone or whatever, or a green light on your
steering. You get a light
on the steering wheel,
yeah.
and then you can't just switch it on your own. You have to have through that RFID or whatever got the DRS notification, and only then you can do it. And
okay, there we go. Now we know. People say anywhere between 150 to 300 meters is the DRS detection.
Sounds about right.
All right, fantastic. Now the great thing about ending today's episode is nobody has to make a prediction. Nobody has to make a prediction.
Did anybody get it right last time?
Yeah, what were our full predictions?
Might as well. Azim said Carlos Sainz, Leclerc and Magnussen. Max Verstappen in the wall. Sherry said Leclerc, Lewis and Sainz. K-Mag or Bottas in third. Cool. Side prediction, Max in the wall. That's two walls that Max Verstappen has defeated
for the rest of the season. Yeah.
Pretty much. There should be a separate wall.
Maybe that's why he's mature now, because we put him in the wall so much.
Wow. I said Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz. I was not that badly
closest.
Close.
Not bad at all. You said Max, Checo and Sainz. Lando scores a point is what you said, Arjun.
Well done.
So those were
I got Lando.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, there you go. That's not bad at all. There we go. Yeah. So what we've learned from these predictions is that people who wish ill on other people do shit predictions, and people who don't make such wishes do very good in predictions. Is what we have learned. The main learning of this episode today, aside from DRS and telemetry data. Sahil, I'm coming. Fuck, Sahil is like giving me passive aggressive coughs.
Sahil just wants attention.
1 minute to go, Sahil. Yeah, we have time. Sahil, we're coming. Don't worry. Sahil.
Late OP bhi koi cheez hoti hai yaar.
हाँ, exactly. थोड़ा feel आना चाहिए. But all right, this has been fun. We will be back next week, even though there isn't a race this week. We will be back next week, hopefully with another fun episode, working on getting some more fun stuff done. Yes. But for now, thank you so much all. This has been fun. Thank you, Shroff. Thank you, Azim Banatwala. Thank you, Arjun, Ravi. Does anybody here have anything that they would like to plug before we go?
Yes, quickly before we go, on Sunday is a very fun race with the Indian racing community where more Haas supremacy can happen. It is the Hungarian Grand Prix, which will be mad fun to watch. So please come. There will be cars in walls, me in wall, anything is possible in that race. So yes.
Sherry's going to be there then. She's like, did somebody say wall?
What?
Did somebody say wall? I'm part race fan, part interior decorator. I love walls. Thank you, Utkarsh, for your super chat. Also, Azim's congratulations on winning QRC. Please finish high in IRC. Don't get those penalties. Happy racing.
Thank you. I shall.
Fantastic. On that note, that brings us to the end of our stream. Thank you everybody for watching. Sumit says wish could send for thank you, very kind of you. Multiverse of podcast ke liye, thank you for your super chat. If I missed anybody's super chat, no, got Utkarsh, got everybody. Thank you everybody who joined. We've had about like 1200 1300 people watching for a bulk of the stream, so that's been awesome. Smash that like button one last time before you go, like you're a Latifi and that's a wall, and then Sherry will become your number one fan. And on that note, thank you friends. Shubhratri.
Good night.
Good night. Have a good one.
See ya.
Have a good one.
Bye.